everybody, Brandon Jones here. I got Kyle Bossman, and we're going to talk about some Pokemon. Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. I've been playing Sun, you have been playing Moon.
Oh, I got that wrong in the description last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you since corrected?
I don't think I did. Just let it slide.
Good to know.
I'm at that point in this career.
Go back, take a screen grab, send it to Mr. Kyle Bossman. Thank you so much for watching. Kyle and I have chatted, and we believe this might very well be the final episode of Brandon Sun, Kyle Moon. Because when we were getting into Brandon Plays Pokemon, we didn't necessarily know what that was going to be. And when we were getting into this, we didn't necessarily know what it was going to be. It was a different situation. I now have a Pokemon game under my belt.
Yeah.
Now I have two. I have finished Pokemon Sun. I have completed the story. I got credits.
Yes.
I have a pretty extensive Pokedex, and I got a lot of videos to cut and a lot of goals to attempt to achieve in 2017. And we both collectively realized that maybe not want to be focusing on Pokemon as much as we are currently, considering we have now both finished it, we've gotten to credits, and it is time to actually review this game.
Yes.
So if you are a fan of Brandon Sun, Kyle Moon, and you are starving for more episodes, you can look forward to our official Easy Allies review of Pokemon Sun, which will be written and edited by me with some consultation from Mr. Kyle Bossman.
Yeah.
We will maybe do a trade today. I don't think we're going to be battling today. Kyle wants that Passimian. But we will not be. I do have B-roll of my final encounters in the game before I got to the credits, but we won't be recording or photographing any of the specific stuff.
Jones, you had
today.
enough beatdowns.
We did, yeah, exactly. Well, but that's the other thing is I think I've reached my limit as far as getting better in this game without really focusing on it, without not spending my time in between episodes going through the story, making notes on what I think is interesting and actually focusing on, okay, that character didn't work, because you didn't want to bulk out your Pokedex necessarily. When we first started out, you were very, that didn't sound like that was really, riling you up.
Yeah, it's not my kind of thing.
So the people that were in your party that I battled against, that slapped me around, were they the first version of that Pokemon you caught?
Most of the time, yeah.
So what practices did you do to finesse the power of some of those Pokemon and maybe make them a little more bulked out than maybe some of mine were?
The Pokepelago.
Okay.
Everyone said I pronounced that wrong, by the way. Because of archipelago? How do you say archipelago?
Yes, archipelago.
So Pokepelago.
So Pokepelago, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. The Pokepelago.
How do people think that should be pronounced?
I have no idea.
Oh.
It's just in the comments I see along, just like, you're saying that wrong. It's like, all right. So in the Pokepelago, Jones, you can beef up your Pokemon. You can make them train.
Okay.
And there were a lot of times, we'll get to it when we go through your story, where some of my best Pokemon were out at the beach training when I needed them most. And so there is a little bit of a trade-off there. But yeah, you can beef up their base stats at the Pokepelago.
So you could have beat me even harder than you did, is what you're saying?
No, the times that I faced you, they were pretty beefed.
So, but that's why, because what would frustrate me is I would see like, oh, I got somebody that's, that you're weak to. You're weak to my guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring my guy out, and then your guy being weak to my Pokemon would still just,
One thing I think, Jones, that we never fully committed on was if your Pokemon has a super strong attack and not a good special attack, you shouldn't even teach it special attack moves. That's something I believe in. I realize that that's not something everybody believes in, but yeah, if I had a Pokemon who's like a weird psychic who only has special attack and is really weak attack, and if it has pound, I won't teach it pound. It's not going to be effective. And I think that may have happened sometimes in our battle.
The whole concept of battling another person in a role-playing game is unique to me.
Yeah.
Even, I played a ton of World of Warcraft and never really got into any PvP.
Right.
Played a bunch of, Final Fantasy XIV online. I know they have some kind of versus stuff going on there. Haven't really dabbled in any of that.
It's a great point.
Not a big MOBA guy,
Right.
so this is a mountain that I will climb, not necessarily this year, maybe not even within, what is and will become Easy Allies. This is a Pokemon life journey that I am on.
So you're saying after retirement, you might become competitive at Pokemon?
Well, what Colin and I are talking about is possibly if other Pokemon games were released this year or next.
Space themed, perhaps?
Maybe.
Yeah.
These would be fun opportunities to focus on other things. I mean, we basically we had our first show, which was my eyes, opened up to discover all of the amazing things in Pokemon.
Yeah.
Now going into this show, we have a current game. We can really focus on what has changed, which is what I really want to talk about. I want to ask the tough questions as far as like
Let's do some
me
tough
finishing
questions
this
today.
story now and thinking, okay, there's still some things in this world that are just wacky to me, and I want to know if they're just wacky and I should just deal with it, or if these are things that you hope will improve, or things that you just kind of realize that you got cozy with over the years, and you're like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, Jones. But we feel that this show has run its course, and if we were to do another show in the future, hopefully it would be a totally different thing and focused on battling, or focused on actually trying to catch everything, or the improvements of taking a 3DS game and moving it to the Switch. If said game is in development.
If it's happening.
If that's happening.
It's got to be happening.
But you didn't hear that rumor here first. I caught some stuff. I got... I know the name of that one.
Jones, can we actually start with a story I missed from last time?
Okay.
This is something that happened like before I was at Pony City.
Okay.
And I want to talk about this. This was a huge moment for me. Do you know a Marini? Have you seen some Marini around?
I have seen a Marini. I have a Marini. The Marini is my third note.
Yeah.
Is that somebody threw out a Marini. I was like, oh... Okay, you.
Yeah.
Marini.
I saw Marini, and I had to have it, because at this point I still didn't have the water type. I wanted a water type that wasn't lame, and I didn't know how Wishy-Washy worked. I know now. If I knew then how Wishy-Washy worked, I may have left it in the party. But anyway, Marini is just such a cool Pokemon, and I couldn't figure out how to catch it, right? You look at the little thing, and it's not showing up. And I actually had to look this up. How to catch Marini. And what sucks is you have to go to Game FAQs, their boards, because they don't have pictures, so you won't be spoiled on what anything evolves into or anything.
Right.
So the way to catch Marini, Jones, obviously brand new to Pokemon Sun and Moon, you have to bump into a Corsola when you're fishing.
Okay.
And Corsola is already rare. It's a weird little pink coral Pokemon.
I got one.
Yeah. You have to fight a Corsola, who is an SOS Pokemon who calls for help.
Okay.
So once the Corsola finally calls for help, you just have to cross your fingers and hope that it calls for a Marini. And that is the only way to show a Marini will show up, is as a help for Corsola.
As far as you know, is that the only Pokemon in Sun and Moon that comes in that way as help?
It's the only new Pokemon. I think there are other Pokemon who only come in as help.
That would seem to me, to take advantage of this new system. Be
yeah,
like,
which is cool.
We'll sneak in a
but
couple
it's like
Pokemon
other
that way.
rare old Pokemon. Marini's the only new Pokemon that has that aspect.
How many
on it.
Corsolas did you have to fight to get that Marini?
So many, Jones. And Corsola's
that
already
poisoned everyone on my team.
It's already rare on top of it. It's already rare to find a Corsola in the first place.
Let alone, there's no guarantee you're actually going to catch this thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to make some dumb move, something's going to crit that you don't want and wipe it out.
Exactly. And so it took me, I think, it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours of fishing to get that Marini.
Wow. So you bet you're going to fight me with that Marini. There's no question.
Yeah, and that's why I named it Golden Death. I gave it a cool name. And I just, and its ability, Jones, its ability is so cool. So if it poisoned the opponent, no matter what, if the opponent's poisoned, any hit on it will do critical hit damage.
Nice.
So it's water poison type, which is a really cool dual type in the first place. I think others have it, probably like Tentacool. But anyway, water poison, I only taught it poison moves because of that ability. So I gave it Toxic to poison the opponents straight out, and Toxic is the cool poison that stacks every turn as a normal poison. It's got this really cool move called something Bunker, where it's basically Protect. Have you seen somebody do Protect? I hate it.
I don't know.
Basically, you can't be hurt next turn no matter what. You just do Protect, and it's like, sorry, you can't hurt me. It's the dumbest move. They love it in the competitive scene. It does that, and if somebody tries to hit you while you're protecting yourself, they get poisoned. And then I have a Venoshock, a move that does poison damage. It just rules. I really love the moveset of this thing. And it was so exciting to work that hard for a Pokemon, which I haven't done in a long time.
I am the one bit of guilt that I have this week not having the capture unit and actually challenging you again is that I did give my grass type Pokemon the spin kick or something. You were asking me last week. You're like, do you have the spin thing? Because when I put out the spikes, you can get rid of that. So I made a point. I found it. Was like, give it to her.
Yeah.
But too much to talk about. We have time to battle.
Okay.
So much to talk about. Finish this game.
I love Marini. I love Toxapex, what it evolves into. That's why I go Media Blackout, is just discovering an evolution of a Pokemon is so fun. Okay, but now
yeah.
we can begin again.
When I finally saw him, when they threw Marini out, I was like, oh, you're it. Look at you.
Oh, you're that thing that Kyle had.
You're that, yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You're that small version of that pain in the ass that Kyle threw out.
Yeah.
I got a Bulldor. I named it Slamite.
Slamite's a cool name. Man, I like that.
Every now and then I'll give something a Skylanders type name.
Yeah.
I had seen a Doug trio. I just
Okay.
I didn't think about it when you brought it up.
Yeah, how
But then when
funny
I
is
saw
that
one a
thing?
game, I'm assuming that's Hanson, right?
Oh, I don't think that's a direct reference, but you're right. It is 3. It's a trio.
It's Hanson.
But the thing is, Hanson all has the same haircut, right? They all had long hair.
No, dude, they had like different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like because the older guy had like curlier hair, like the older
Yeah, he was a
brother.
creep, yeah.
His hair was like the longest, I think, and it was kind of
Yeah.
curly. And
Yeah.
I instantaneously when that thing popped out, I was like, oh, it's Hanson.
Did you name it Hanson?
No, I named it Blondie because I figured
okay.
Hanson was too obvious.
All right.
I grabbed an Execute, which I had before, named it Scram. But I also got an Executor. And I think I'd seen an Executor just somewhere online. I might have seen one and freaked out in Pokemon Go, but didn't actually grab
Definitely
it.
didn't look like that.
Definitely didn't look like this one. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
whole story episode. We can get to that. But
Yeah.
I named it Treg because it's tree and egg put together.
Oh.
Because that's what that crazy Pokemon is. I got a Gastrodon.
Yeah.
Named it Burpee.
Burpee.
Which actually was a hamster that I owned back in the day. A
Whoa.
hamster named Burpee.
Also a really hard exercise.
The Burpee?
Yeah.
Right. I got a Grand Bull, which I kind of dig. Kind of a Hanna-Barbera vibe from the Grand Bull.
Have you ever seen a Snubble?
No?
They're the ones that are around the police office. Wherever you go to a police station,
Oh, okay.
you'll see a little Snubble. That's what those evolve into.
Okay, cool.
It's just weird to me because I actually really like the design of Snubble, and then it gets kind of plain. It's just a big, like, purple bulldog that stands on 2 legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
Fairy
it's like-
type though, which is cool.
Named it Petey. Looked up famous pit bulls. Petey was number 1. It was the pit bull and the Little Rascals was Petey.
Oh, cool.
Grabbed my Munchlax from my free Munchlax.
Oh yeah.
Named it Garfield because that was. It would
Did you evolve
eventually? I did not evolve him, but named him Garfield because that was my Snorlax from before.
So the reason they gave you that Munchlax is that it has a unique Z-type move that rules.
Ooh, okay,
Maybe I can just show it to you
all right,
because it is cool.
okay.
Well, no, I shouldn't show it to you if we can't show it in B-roll as
Right.
well. Yeah, okay.
But I'll dig it up and see if I can find it.
Some Pokemon have unique Z-type moves, and it's really cool that they allow that. I like it.
I got a Vulpix. Mm-hmm. Are there like multiple Vulpixes?
Yeah, Jones, it's an Alolan Vulpix.
Okay, I could have sworn I've seen like 5. I could have
There are
sworn
2.
I've.
There's only 2.
Okay. I thought I've seen like 8 different colors on a Vulpix, man. But this is just one. But
Just-
they're both in this game, the
Yeah.
Alolan and the regular.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of that going on? Where like there's
Wait, so you've seen a regular Vulpix around? So this Vulpix, Jones, is one of the Pokemon I can't get in Moon.
I named it Vanilla because it's white.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, there's also a snowy, icy Sandshrew in Moon.
Okay.
That you can't have.
Okay.
And so they went with like
Oh,
snowy,
okay.
icy versions of those 2 Pokemon for some
I like
reason.
it. I got the Lycanroc you love so much. Named it Axel. Got a Corsolo, which we were talking about. Named it Rifa. Just couldn't think of anything. 'Cause I'm
Rifa's great. Come on, that's a good name.
got a Raticate. Named it Scabbers from Harry Potter.
Great.
Got a Sneasel. Named it Smarts. For some, I think they talked about its intelligence. For
Yeah.
some reason, it's named it Smarts. And I got a Litten from my friend Mitch, who, if viewers are watching at home, if you go back and watch 2 old Toy Box Tuesday episodes where he stopped by. I'm trying to think of his nickname online. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that was like the name of the episode. Moogly Boo is his online persona.
Moogly Boo.
So those are there's Moogly Boo and Moogly 2 were the 2 times he stopped by Toy Box Tuesday. But big Pokemon fan. And I love that he's like, I'm in town. And I'm like, oh, we should hang out. He's like, I got a Litten for you. I'm like,
So he probably bred it, right? That was a Litten
Yeah.
baby? Nice.
so got that Litten named Sammy. Was just what he named it.
Oh, okay.
And of course, I got a Sol Galeo, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Which I named
course.
Skywalker.
Whoa.
Because it was starry. I got like starry vibes
Yeah,
from
yeah.
there. So I just started
I mean-
thinking of Star Wars. And I was like, Skywalker's a cool name.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't like make sense.
Yeah.
I think that is
It's a cool name
a
for that
pretty
thing.
epic looking Pokemon and deserves the name Skywalker.
Absolutely.
I mentioned one specific gameplay improvement. I have lots of notes here because I'm going through the rest of the entirety of the game. But one specific thing that we never talked about because things weren't really animated in Pokemon Red, and now stuff's moving.
Yeah.
Cameras are moving around like while you're in battle. And one of my favorite things to be picky about in Pokemon are things where you're like, Jones, obviously, just shut up about it, okay? Just enjoy this game.
Yeah.
And that's the fact that some Pokemon work well because they just stand there. You throw them out, and I got a couple legs, and I'm a thing, and I just stand.
Yeah.
Some are birds, some are fish.
Yeah.
And they're just I'm just floating in the air.
The fish bug me, I gotta be honest.
I mean, even like a Wingull, just seeing it like, it's like,
not even
are
flapping.
You flying? Like, yeah, what's happening here?
Yeah.
I guess there's just no good way to do that. But I was wondering if, like, did the show or did a movie or were there ever like, oh, well, water Pokemon exist in this interesting stasis.
To explain why
they
fish,
absorb the air out of the water out of the air. They use it to.
And I think the way they made it work for like the anime in the beginning, I think they eventually just had to cave on this, is basically anytime they'd be fighting a water Pokemon, there would just be water nearby.
Okay. They eventually just gave up.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, Jones, I don't know. That is tough. I think if they could hit the reset button, they'd be like, we shouldn't do floating fish. If I could do that, it's like, hey, no more floating fish. Let's just
you
not
can
get
have fish, but like give them feet or give them something that they can like rest on when they're on land or have that have a different kind of existence on land. I think the one that made me write it down, because like a Wingull I thought was kind of weird, but the first time I saw, and I haven't caught it yet, but the second water type, not the Lapras, but the Sharpedo.
Yeah.
First time I battled the Sharpedo, it's like,
how are you floating, man?
that looks weird.
Yeah.
Because it's weird to see a big shark like, just like on wires.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's no. But I usually I can think of some kind of silly excuse for like how that could happen.
I don't know.
But I guess not.
Some Pokemon float.
Yep.
It's just a floating Pokemon.
It's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
So when we last left off, I went to Po Town, which I didn't have the name for. I thought it was like the Skull headquarters.
Yeah.
Which I guess they don't. This is the closest thing you can get to Team Skull.
Po Town
HQ.
existed before it was Team Skull HQ.
Right, and they just took it over.
They took it over.
And it's interesting that a lot of like local authorities are just kind of like, I remember when somebody says they're like, I wish they would just keep to Po Town. It's like, you just gave them Po Town? Like, you can't. And maybe we can, before we get into anything else.
Okay.
There's a pill that I'm having trouble swallowing,
Let's
Kyle,
swallow this pill.
in the world of Pokemon.
Okay.
And viewers at home, everybody, I need some help here.
We'll do
because
this.
I play role-playing games to get absorbed in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And after now finishing my second Pokemon game, I am very excited for everything else that comes with Pokemon. If I get to play this game again, Nintendo Switch, I'm all over it. If they make some other game, 2 years, 3 years down the line for the Nintendo Switch, and it's like, like some African safari Pokemon game or something, like I'm all about that. Like some world traveling thing, like great. Mm-hmm. It's just weird to me to set up an actual story around the idea that I embarrassed you so hard by not being as good as me at raising and battling with Pokemon that no matter what, you're going to stop whatever you're doing. That everybody in the entire world shares that angst. You know what I mean? That like humility, that like it's so hardcore. Like I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to, murder people. I'm going to, like do whatever it takes to attain ultimate power. Oh, wait a minute. You got the luck of the draw on that one fire move. There goes my whole plan. It's like, why would you care? Like, and again, I know this is like, whoa, what is Jones talking about? Like, I know I'm getting way too far into this, more than I should. But after going through these two stories and just having these moments where I was like, wow, I'm really in a pickle now. Oh, wait, I forgot. It's all going to end because I'm going to splash water on a bird, and that's going to like, well, I give up. There's nothing I can do. We all kind of have that agreement that like, it's like, that handshake that like you just don't. No one goes against that. Be really interesting in a Pokemon game to like beat the final villain and have them be like, oh cool, you beat me. I'm still gonna do my plan. I don't care if you beat my Pokemon. Like,
I think Jones. I think the way we have to look at it is this is a world with no weapons. There are no guns. So Pokemon are weapons.
Right.
You're basically pointing a gun at that person when they lose.
Right.
And I think that's how you have to look at it.
I guess it's that threat.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist really in this world. I mean, it's there, but I just don't feel it.
Right, and it's like in a movie where you have to see someone die to know the enemies are a threat. I think you'd have to see them use their Pokemon against somebody. for them to be understood as weapons. I think you're right. I guess for that really to be communicated.
I'm trying to find the right word to express in the review, and I'm nervous about this too because I don't want people for me to critique the story in this way and have people be like, "Whoa, Jones, you don't get what these games should be."
Yeah.
Because I don't. I've only played 2 of them.
Yeah.
So I'm just basing that on these 2 experiences.
And all the other RPGs you've ever played in your life.
But we're right.
The other thing. Yeah.
But the word that I'm searching for right now, and the word that I'm resting on is teeth. These stories don't have teeth to me. Like I'm not intimidated really by anybody. I'm not. I don't feel threatened. I'm not scared. At no point was like, oh, here we go. And after finishing Red and going through that whole ordeal, and then like gearing up towards the end of this game, I was anticipating finishing it. I was looking forward to working on this show. There was no point where I was like, okay, here we go. I hope, fingers crossed, that I can finish this story. It's just like, well, the story is what it doesn't really matter. Yeah. And I actually appreciated that. Pokemon Sun, I can't speak for Moon. I'm assuming the scripts are relatively similar.
Yes.
But the overall cheery vibes, I think, just kind of like wash over any doubt of like that I would have about how this world should work, or that it doesn't necessarily make sense that people would give up just because I'm. I spent more time in the grass than they did. Just kind of like stacking up all of the how this world makes sense. Does this world make sense? Does it need to?
Does it need to?
Can you be entertained and how invested should I get into characters? Like I meet these kahunas and they share their struggles about being kahuna and what that means and the goals that they've had and the things that they strive for, and it's like how interested should I be in that? Like, how invested should I really be in this character? How believable is this world?
John, no, these are great arguments. The thing is, it's an improvement on previous Pokemon story. Well, it's an improvement on X and Y, I would say. But your argument that it has no teeth is valid. Absolutely. I think some of them tried. You see moments of them trying to make an argument, trying to make a point, but that point isn't what the story is trying to achieve. Is like, hey, we toss some stuff in there. But really, when you're trying to make a good story, you start with that, and everything leads to that point.
Gladion has a line where he's like, I know we're not friends, but I respect you. And it's like, you and I are closer friends than most anybody else I know, like in this world and in the real world.
Well, it's kind of anime.
Like,
no.
I've had friends that are way meaner to me than you are.
Gladion and Sasuke, that all makes sense.
Right.
That's okay.
But yeah, but it's not necessarily a question of me approaching this role-playing franchise and being like, okay, this is broken and I know how to fix it. It's like, well, does it really need that?
Right.
Like, can this exist? Can this franchise exist by not really having that heavy-handed of a story? Like, if I was to rack my brain to actually think of like an interesting spin, like we were talking about, like a steampunk version, like going like way back in time and trying to figure out like who was the first person to actually capture a Pokemon and what was their journey.
Yeah.
Or possibly way into the future where like they're way more integrated into society, and it's not a matter of like, oh, we got to go get the Pokedex. Everybody's got a Pokedex. It's just kind of like, what does the world look like there?
Yeah. Jones, because that's it. The way that they chose to add stakes to the Pokemon series is just to make every game end in a world-ending scenario, right? Where there's a legendary Pokemon who could end the world, things like that. And that's not always the way to raise stakes. I mean, that's what a lot of RPGs take you there.
Right.
Oh, the world's gonna die if you don't win this battle. I don't know if it works with Pokemon. It's really interesting, Jones. I think that people would say, and I've heard this all my life, it's a kid's game. Chill out. Right. You know what I mean? I hear that every single time.
I totally understand that. If any of you are instantly had that knee-jerk reaction, I get it. This is just me trying to understand. Because I also want to prep you for just my opinions wrapping up this game, that there is a fair amount of disappointment here. And it's not a disappointment in the game. It's a disappointment in my anticipation of where we were at now with this franchise. Where I'm
20
just like,
years later.
We're actually not that far.
Sure.
It's like, I actually don't really care about any of this, and this is pretty much the surface of the story that they could tell. But I'll tell you what I do love.
Okay.
I love Potown. Potown's great.
Love Potown. This is a really cool section.
Potown's what I'm talking about. Like, as far as Potown reminded me of, in a little way, of the tower. I can't remember the name of it, but the ghost tower from Red.
Sure.
Where you'd go to lay your Pokemon to rest.
Yeah.
And how startled I was when I first found that. I was like, oh, this is not what I thought this was, and learning a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
And didn't really have that moment anywhere in this game, of just like, whoa, like they really changed it up in this town.
Yeah.
It was like stylistically it would change, the Pokemon would change, maybe the way people talked and the music and the atmosphere. But love going into Potown and love the Pokemon Center in this place.
Yeah.
It was I honestly think it's one of my top 5 moments in the entire game because I walked in and was like, whoa. It was just not expecting that.
Because every other Pokemon Center is exactly the same face at the counter.
Pretty similar, yeah. The
exactly.
guys behind the counter, the same character models, like
Yeah.
same lady, same hairstyle behind there. Like maybe you see a couple different people, someone will want to trade with you. Maybe they'll talk about the surrounding
And you know
areas.
you always can. It's safe. You know you can always. You know always know what to expect.
You
when go to
walk up
Pokemon
to this
Center.
thing and I can
Yeah.
see that like the spray paint on
Yeah.
the floor, like, oh, maybe this will be different. And you can it still kind of facilitates what you want a center to do, which is I just want to heal, and get out of here if I'm in
Yeah.
a hurry. So you can still do that.
for a
but-
marginal fee.
Yeah.
I love that. It's not going to break your bank, but it's really cool that they charge you and you have to give money to this organization.
Yeah, so that amused me.
You know what's cool is after you clear out Po Town, if you go back to that Pokemon Center, they'll sell you a shirt. And so that's why my character wears that cool Team Skull shirt. Is I just bought one. It was super expensive too, and they're like, well, it's $10,000. So like, all right.
I spot a Wimpod, which you mentioned in the last episode,
Love
and I didn't
Wimpod.
know what you were talking about, which
Yeah.
evolves into a Glisopod.
Yep. So did
which,
you have to chase the Wimpod?
I played a trainer.
Oh, okay.
I fought a trainer that had it.
I love Wimpod.
So I recognized
It's
that.
always so sad.
It is. Saw Marini, which we've talked about at length.
But this is a cool section, right? Where you're kind of having to stealth it out and find secret paths through this town that's been taken over by Team Skull.
There's kind of like a bully Animal House vibe
Mm-hmm.
in here, especially when you go get to the shady house at the end of the street.
Yeah. And do you remember I think it was the first episode, I had a hypothesis that Team Skull was like the red herring, that like they weren't actually that bad and that, they were actually kind of likable, and that the other team, the white team, I forget what they're called, the good guys, that they would be the bad guys. And at this point, it's like, oh, Team Skull's bad guys. They're clearly bad guys. Okay, I get this now. I thought they would just be goofs the whole time. And so this was kind of cool for me, just to see them actually doing bad stuff, that they actually had some influence.
Because again, we want to get back to the concept of danger, of actually getting into a nervousness, like I'm behind enemy lines, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I'm getting like this is what I want more, is like, there is kind of drama here in that if people are scared of Pokemon, you do have this respect. Like I think the odds are that kids probably would have a higher chance of getting into Pokemon trading and understanding it more, potentially than parents would. And so the idea that
Everybody grows up with Pokemon. What do you mean?
they do, but it's like, I mean, think of all the trainers that you fought in Pokemon Sun. Were most of them kids or adults?
There's a lot of swimmers. Those are all adults.
I just think there were a lot. I mean, Team
Like
Skull. There's
hikers adults.
like there's not a lot of adults in Team Skull. Like
Team
nobody.
Skull's all adults,
Nobody
man.
like retired. What are you talking about?
You think those are teens?
I definitely think those are younger.
I think those are adults.
I mean, maybe like early 20s.
Yeah.
But it's basically, I'm like, long story short, I get a kind of a Lord of the Flies vibe.
Okay, sure,
From
I like
being in
that.
Po Town,
Yeah.
that like these kids, it's like the Lost Boys. Like
Yeah.
these kids didn't grow up,
Yeah.
and
They're kind of doofuses too.
and I like that, you don't get in there and it's the vibe where like, oh, we got everything figured out. It's kind of like The Walking Dead, where it's just like, ooh, this town is this is kind of messed up, and this might seem like a paradise, for a kid to be like, oh, there's no. See, that's the thing, like there's no adults here, no one's in charge.
Yeah.
Like I want to be in Team Skull, I can just run around and do whatever I want, and you kind of get that vibe being in Po Town. It's like, well, I don't want to live here.
Yeah.
I guess that's like the flip side of that, is that you would live in a scummy house if nobody, fixes it up, and
Nobody cares.
And you'd have to have pretty insane security if you go around pushing people around all the time, and you'd have to defend yourself. So I dug Po Town. I wish there were more. I wish there was more like that, other than just like mountain, Western Town. Just like one of the.
And Western Town is actually a really cool idea. There's just no execution on it.
Nothing there. Yeah. Except a bunch of Magmars. I meet, so I get in there, I beat up Guzma. He's got a Glisopod and an Ariados.
We skipped something I love, actually.
Sure.
That there's clues around the mansion about how you should act as a Team Skull member. And then the guy that leads you into the entrance gives you a little quiz. And one of those things you pick up says, no matter what,
Yeah.
if somebody asks you a question, you say no. And so you go to that guy and he's like, do you know the answer to this trivia question? And you're like, okay, do you want me to let you through? And I said, yes. He's like,
So did
clearly,
I.
you're not a Team Skull guy.
I did the same, and
and then I was like, oh.
it didn't even hit me then. I tried again and was like, damn, like
Yeah.
maybe I missed something. I was like, there's got to be something else I can find. Well, I found that other oh God, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah. And that is
Point
actually
back to him, like, ask me the questions. Come on.
and then you say no, and like that really plays on your video game expectations. I actually really like that part.
Yeah.
Pretty clever to me.
But again, I think that whole sequence was surprising.
Yeah.
You know, that was a very interesting environment.
Guzma actually
me
wasn't
thinking.
hard for me either in that fight. I think that was a kind of easy fight. It was so weird that he's got like a stack of Z crystals next to him.
Oh, I didn't notice
Yeah,
that.
he's just got like a bunch of them. When you never see that many in the rest of your life.
Skull's messed up, man.
You can sit in his throne too, which is cool.
After I beat up Guzma, I bump into Kahuna Nanu.
Yeah.
What's up with this guy?
I don't know. I still don't know what's up with this guy. Went through the whole story. I don't know what's up with
me
this
too.
guy. Yeah, he's got a tough past.
Even by the he shows up at the end. Just
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
whatever, I guess. Well, yeah. Because most of the, I don't know. I think maybe when he's like, I guess it's all downhill after that first Kahuna. He's like, he's like, does he ever open his eyes? His eyes are like always closed because he's always smiling and laughing.
It's like Brock, you know?
So yeah, it was interesting going to Nanu, just being like, come on, man, cheer up. He seemed a little down.
And he's
on
like, I'm
life.
going to look after this town. Yeah, he's going to keep out looking after Po Town or something. Yeah, that was a weird guy.
Gladion challenges me. He brings out Golbat, type
Okay.
Null again.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I see Sneasel.
Oh, okay.
So Sneasel pops in that Pokedex. And
Yep.
I
Sneasel's
eventually
actually not
hunted him
that
down
new
later.
at all. But
Okay.
Yeah,
New to me, baby.
clearly evil.
And then Nanu shows up again and challenges me. He's got Sableye, which I love, and I've tried to catch Sableye, and I couldn't. It's one of those things where they're like, he's in this cave, and that cave has like 8 rooms in it. So
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't know
and
what
it's
room
like
he's
a
in.
10%er. Yeah, yeah.
I'm, I assume I can catch him in every room, but I don't know.
I might have a Sableye for you, Jones.
A Krokorok.
Krokorok. I really like Krokorok. That's how he talks in the anime.
Nice. And a Persian, which I'm familiar with. Not familiar with the Krokorok, though. And I beat up Nanu, and he is the last Kahuna. Kind of anticlimactic. He's like, I'm the Kahuna, so I guess we should probably fight. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Bet you didn't think I was a kahuna, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I kind of did, man. Yeah, right.
But I beat him up, and that grants me passage to the Aether Paradise to rescue Lily.
Aether Foundation. That's what
The
I
Aether
think of.
Foundation,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. So we're going to the Aether Paradise to rescue Lily.
Yeah.
And I'd like to point out that the first time I visited Aether Paradise, I got a nasty Jurassic Park vibe. I'm like, I'm gonna come back here and have to deal with some
yeah.
stuff here. I don't trust these people.
Yeah.
And I was happy that my instincts served me well. I fight an Aether Paradise employee that has a Doug trio that looks like Hanson, which we talked
Yeah.
about.
Great.
So finally reminded of those. Porygon 2,
Yes.
the sequel
The sequel.
of Porygon.
Yeah.
What does Porygon have? What does Porygon 2 have? The Porygon 1 did not.
Smoother model.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's got more polygons.
So Porygon was in red.
Yeah.
When did Porygon 2 happen?
Porygon 2, I think, happens in the next one, in Gold and Silver.
Okay.
But
Did we get to
I'm not
Porygon
sure
3?
That's true. You get to Porygon Z.
Oh my.
Yeah. And yeah, that
Is
happens.
Z the follow-up of 2? Or is there a 3, a 4, or 5?
That ends at Z. So I think Porygon 2 might be the Game Boy Advance games. I'm not positive.
Okay.
I don't remember when it's introduced, but yeah, Porygon 2 is old, and yeah, I really like Porygon Z as well.
For those of you that missed it, and you were a fan of Kyle and I hanging out and talking about and playing Pokemon games, we played Pokemon Snap,
Oh, that's a stream worth
which we
watching.
hadn't played. We did that for a group stream,
Yeah.
and I was excited to see Porygon in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to see some Pokemon I was not expecting.
He was doing his camouflage, which kind of makes sense because of all his weird moves.
How joins me, and we co-op some employees in the Aether Paradise. He throws out a Vanillish, and that looks delicious. Vanillish.
Yeah.
Little ice cream Pokemon. We meet Wick again. What's up with Wick?
By the way, do you hate Vanillish?
No.
Vanillish got a lot of flack when it was announced.
You hate Pokemon like that too, where it's like, it's a set of keys.
No,
you don't mind that?
I
Okay.
love Klefki and I love Vanillish.
Okay.
To
Why
me,
do you love Vanillish, Kyle?
well, I don't love Vanillish, but Vanillish got so much like, it's an ice cream cone. They're out of ideas, and to me that's so frustrating because they are out of ideas in the 150.
Right.
It's just like muck's a bunch of goo.
Yeah.
And it's just so it's like it's frustrating because when you see something new, to say they're out of ideas is a bummer.
Right.
If you saw a repeat of an old thing, yeah, that's out of ideas.
Right.
But
I don't like these ideas they're having. But
right.
It doesn't, yeah.
So Klefki, the keys are actually keys that it steals. It's like a nasty little ghost fairy that steals keys, which I think is kind of cool. And also, yeah, I don't mind the ice cream cones. I mean, I would not put that in my party. It's a floating weirdo. But the fact that it looks like an ice cream cone is not a detractor to me.
Well, it's interesting because like the mythology of Thor in the Marvel universe asks, was mythology based on Thor? Was Thor based on mythology? Who chicken and the egg, which came first? Mm-hmm. And so like in this world, if we really want to get into it, you have to ask yourself like, did the ice cream cone come first or did Vanillish come first? So, and they saw that Pokemon and thought,
Jones, this is really fun.
That looks delicious. I bet I can make a dessert that looks like that.
I don't know if you ever saw this, but back at Game Trailers, I got to do a show called Pokemon Theory, and it took place in this fictional universe of the Pokemon world. So imagine we're in the world of the games, and we're sitting down watching TV. This is a TV show that would have been on, and the first episode we did was Machoke, and we talked about, hey, how does Machoke have a belt? How does he have a belt and underwear? And so, did he take that from watching us, or did it just happen? And then basically, yeah, My Pokemon theory is that the Pokemon they observe the humans. They observe this world and they evolve accordingly based off the things that they observe. And so, yeah, I do think that it's no coincidence that it's shaped like an ice cream cone. It's seen ice cream. And somehow some Pokemon, some life form eventually evolved into Vanillish.
Yeah, if there's a Ditto, all bets are off, man. There's a literally just like Clayface onto other Pokemon.
Yeah.
I meet Wick again, as long as we're talking about Wick.
Sure.
Another issue that I had with the story, as far as locations and characters, is a lot of characters were like, hey, I'm this character. And I'm like, what's up? And they're like, see you never.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, that was like a whole scene where I met that person and they had cool Pokemon and I was kind of curious how they fit into the story. It's like, they don't. They're gone.
Yeah. Do you remember that guy in the kimono that I didn't remember from last time and I said he never comes back? Everyone was like, Kyle, he's in the Elite Four in Black and White 2. And so it's like, that doesn't justify him. That doesn't justify that man appearing for 1 second and then never coming back. Like, it's like, a little wink.
The pair I meet in front of the hotel. There's like two gals that come up and I fight them and it's like
they actually do come back. They do come back, but again, not in a substantial role.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I will take any opportunity to inform people that Final Fantasy VI is one of the best video games that's ever been created. And even looking back at this 20-year-old RPG, I mean, that story was way deeper than what I just played.
Yeah.
And so it's frustrating to not only, I don't expect it to have that kind of a depth, but like, it'd be nice to like go back to a place for some reason. Like go back to a building I've been to before to meet. Like I hang in with the students at the beginning and Kukui, and he introduces me to all the teachers and stuff, and then gone. Like I never I don't discover something and they're like, oh, the teacher at the elementary school might know that. And like, oh, I know where that is. Let me go back to that location and ask them. Like that, there's no reason for that hotel to be there.
That school in particular, though, I mean, remember that top floor? There was that guy who said you have to be really strong to go in this room, and like you can have a cool fight there with the principal, or whatever. But it's not story motivated,
right? And
like you're asking for. Do you remember Colress, the guy with the weird glasses? Another guy who just comes and talks to you and just says, "I see that what you're learning. I'll come." He's another guy from previous games, Colress, who has devious plans. And so he just shows up for one scene in this game. And it's kind of like, it's like a cheap rule of storytelling of just like, no, that'll pay off later.
Yeah.
You have to, as you introduce things, they have to pay off other things. You can't just, to me, introduce things without paying off other things.
Right.
And that's kind of what it does. It's that scene in Batman v Superman where it's like he sees the Flash from the future and says, "Hey, Lois Lane, she's the answer to everything." That's cheap. That's cheap. It doesn't solve anything on top of what it's just like, we're just gonna toss it in. We're gonna be geniuses later. Just wait for it. It's like that doesn't. No, you need to be geniuses now. And I do get it, Jones. There's a lot of characters who have no payoff that are simply characters.
So in this instance, Wick showing up later and telling me something I didn't know was like, I mean, that's a little more,
Wick's all
involved.
Right. I don't mind Wick.
Yeah. Heals my Pokemon. Thanks, Wick.
Thanks, Wick.
I make it to Faba, who I was not expecting to be the villain that he turned out to be. Faba.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I co-op battle him with Gladion,
Yeah.
which is very satisfying.
Sure.
So Gladion and I are buds now.
Isn't his type null evolved at this point too?
I don't think so. What would it evolve into?
It evolves. I can't think of the name. The mask comes off.
Oh, boy.
So basically, it's the same body shape, but just that mask is off.
Oh my.
And it's called like Sylvali. Actually, I think that's what the name of it is.
Oh boy, I don't know if I ever
Oh, okay.
saw that one. Oh my goodness. Or either that or I wasn't paying attention. And I get to the skull floor of the Aether Paradise? Mm-hmm. What? They're just like, yeah, all of you reckless people who have no clear agenda and love to like deface public property.
Dude, Aether was funding Skull. That's what we learn here.
To do what? Funding Skull for what?
To like create the need, I think was the plan.
Okay.
To create the need for Aether, Aether funds Skull.
Yeah, it seemed like there would be a need for Aether anyway. Like, when I first came in there, like...
Because they're, like, rescuing Pokemon. Right. They're like, we gotta rescue Pokemon from Team Skull. They're doing awful things, and we gotta rescue those Pokemon. But
and that also fits into...
Skull the whole time.
If you've been to, like, if you've been to tropical areas, it's not, strange to have... So, even at, like, hotels and resorts and stuff like that, we'll have, like, a marine division that will take care of turtles or fish or some kind of like marine animal that you can go and they're like, obviously part of that will be for tourists, so you can go and check out the animals, but like no, we are scientists, we are veterinarians, like we do take care of animals.
Obviously they could have gone a different course, but they needed funding, Jones. They needed power and influence.
I just don't get the cycle there of weirdos.
Well,
like
I mean,
Faba
obviously,
to Guzman.
we'll get there.
Okay,
I mean,
sure.
Clearly, Aether Foundation had higher aspirations than just taking care of some ocean animals.
Right. So I beat up a bunch of skulls, which I love to do. I battled Guzma again. He still has his Golisopod and his Ariados.
Yeah.
But now he has a Pinsir.
Pincer's
which,
cool, right?
I don't believe I met in Red. But
he's pretty rare. He's a Safari Zone guy.
But I did meet in no, I think I might have gotten him in Red, but definitely have him in Pokemon Go. And a Masquerain.
Yeah.
Which was new.
You have a Surskit, didn't you? The little water guy who can walk on water. He's just got really. That's what Surskit evolves into.
I swear I read a lot of these names down. I'm just like, we'll have a great conversation about that. Now I'm looking at it like, I don't remember
it's just
what that
like
is.
it's like a weird butterfly. I don't really like Masquerain. I'm not really into it.
I meet with Lusamine again, and Lusamine freaks out.
Yeah.
Lusamine is not happy that I'm there.
Yeah.
Lusamine is slowly forming into what I'm assuming is going to be the villain of this game. She opens up some portals. Mm-hmm. Some crazy beasts pop out of there.
Yeah.
Some of the kahunas are alerted to this.
Yeah.
And go to defend their islands.
This is a really strange cutscene, actually. Because this is another thing that kind of never pays off.
Right.
You see those kahunas
but I'm
like
kind of excited. I'm
my
like,
God.
Here we go. Especially seeing them open up on different islands. I'm like, here we go.
Yeah.
And this, again, what I'm talking about, we're like, cool, now I'm going to go back to each of those islands and maybe do a quicker version of getting through it, because I'm not going to be like discovering the map.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll go back. Like an example of someplace I would love to have gone back to, or like be directed back to, is the top of that one mountain with the two like the nerds, the two like science guys.
Oh yeah.
You know, that like I had to do like the sound tests, for that trial.
Yeah.
I thought this would be an opportunity where it's like, okay, I got to go back and meet with those
because you have the
famous
observatory
people from those areas, and,
Yeah.
they'll okay, well, here's when we saw this portal open up. Maybe you can go stop it, and then I go close them all, and then go back to Ether, and haha, I got you.
Yeah.
Nope, it's all taken care of.
That's all right.
Yeah, almost to the point where I think I bump into like Ace Rolla or one of the kahunas who I'm walking down the path and they walk up and they're like, hey, I was just fighting the beast. That fight was crazy.
Yeah, I
I'm
wanna
like,
be-
and that's done?
Yeah.
We did. Okay, good. Good thing you're around.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. And Lusamine battles me, and she's got a 5 Pokemon, which I think is more than I've fought up to that point. She's got a Clefable. She's got a Lilligant, a Milotic, a Beware, which I cannot believe is not Michael Huber's favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, well, it's new. That one's brand new.
Oh, brand new Beware.
Yeah.
Nice. And the Mismagius.
Yeah.
Mismagius?
I like Mismagius.
Mismagius. I like Mismagius too.
The evolution of Misdreavus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I had a Misdreavus, had it in my party, tried to get that sucker to evolve, and didn't make it happen. So traded it out for something else. I've only had all the time in the world to play Pokemon.
Yeah.
I make it to Pony Island.
Yeah.
Finally make it to the last island.
Well, hold on. So you defeated her, and then she's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm gonna go in this portal." And then Guzma's like, "Me too." And then like, "Oh, they're gone." That's it.
So setting up. Didn't really think. I thought Guzma might be a red herring. I'm like, you're probably not the last thing I fight.
Yeah.
But,
and I think Nebby like freaks out too, right?
Nebby evolves. I think in that.
Nebby becomes like the little disc. And so like Nebby's frozen and like is sleeping.
Just again, like starting to get into creepy stuff here.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit. You know, where it's like, you know, little cute Nebby, like the ears, the flappy ears, was all goofy.
Yeah.
Now it's like, whoa, things are getting a little serious. Like, not expecting Nebby to have focusing on Nebby much more than I thought we were going to. We get to Pony Island and I chat with the chief of the sea folk. Mm-hmm. The chief, who I don't think is ever named.
No, and I think it's the same character model as all the veterans, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that sucks.
So that was a little weird later, especially when I'm like making notes. I was like, oh, I bumped into the chief again. And then like, I'm like on the next page and then like went back and was like, no, I didn't. No.
That's cheap.
That was just some dude.
Yeah.
I explore the docks, which is fun. I like that.
I like those boats.
I like that vibe. I like them setting up. I don't know if I'm rushing ahead, but the fact that Pony currently doesn't have a kahuna. You know, that
there's nobody on Pony. It's basically uninhabited.
If any of you have you been to Hawaii before?
I've not, no.
So there definitely are islands of Hawaii that are like very touristy, tons of hotels, tons of restaurants, bars, nightclubs, stuff like that. And then like others, not so much. You know, there's just kind of like school here, you know, like you can get some shave ice here. Restaurant, maybe a bar on this side. That's the island.
Yeah.
That and a bunch of houses.
That's cool.
So yeah, I did like that they represented that with Pony Island.
It's where they shot Lost.
I see on Pony Island. Is that
no, yeah. They need some island like that.
I see a Garbodor, which is Huber's favorite Pokemon.
Huber's favorite Pokemon.
I'm like, not Beware? Did he specify big pile of garbage?
Yeah. Because I think what happened was Huber showed it to me and I had to explain it to him. And then he's like, oh, I actually like this a lot.
Nice.
It's another Pokemon where it's just like, a pile of garbage. They're out of ideas. It's like, no, it's a really cool idea and really well executed. I love that guy.
I think this might have been what you were talking about. I fight a trainer's Toxapex.
Yeah.
It rains a Z-powered toxic downpour on me that my Pokemon did not like.
You must have been fighting
that whooped me.
One of those trainers who's like, beat all the other trainers on this path and then talk to me.
And I didn't do a lot of that.
Yeah.
I did not make a point to go back to that person after the fact.
Those are usually the ones who will use Z-powers on you. Really quick, Jones, I want to talk about Trubbish. There's one of my favorite episodes of the show. Most of them are in the original series. This is around when I guess Black and White was out. There's a really, really good episode of Pokemon where there's this girl, this rich girl, who loves a Trubbish, but because she's a rich girl, she can't love a Trubbish, so she has to keep her Trubbish a secret from her family and friends. But she smells bad and they don't know what's going on, and so you learn that like she loves this Trubbish, it's her favorite Pokemon, and eventually she's able to keep that Pokemon despite the fact that she's a little rich girl. A really cool episode.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I love that. I love handling like. You know those things that we talk about of just like, give me some teeth, give me some, make these Pokemon real. That actually kind of does. Yeah, I like that.
A little bit more than like, you like Pokemon? I like Pokemon. You're a little stronger than me.
Yeah.
Scene.
Yeah, it's handling this world a little realistically. Rich people probably would have a hard time owning a Trubbish.
I think I've answered my own question here now, but I see two different Oricorios. And I'm guessing one is regular and one is
no, so Oricorios, it's new actually. There's a different type of Oricorio for each island.
There we go. Okay.
If you ever get I forget it's called like honey or sap or I don't know, it's whenever there's like a field and there's like a little sparkling thing, you pick that up, and if you apply that to your Oricorio, it'll change forms.
Oh, neat.
And so they have different typing depending on which
I love them all.
Yeah, they're all kind of cool.
I love all those Oricorios. They're really great.
Pony's definitely my favorite.
Awesome attitude. Yeah, I see a Sharpedo with a trainer out of water. Looks weird. Then Hapu's grandmother comes up and starts creeping on me. She's like,
does she?
She's like staring like
through
a hole in a wall.
Because there's like some weird.
Look, what do you want, lady?
Yeah, there's like weird homes there. They don't know their homes look like.
Yeah, like ruins or something.
Kind of like Adobe. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a crazy house back there. Is that where she lives in that?
I think the grandmother lives there for sure. Yeah,
all the Machamps walking around. And Kyle, these moments are slowly going away where you know something about Pokemon that I'm completely in the dark.
Sure.
I made the rough assumption during the last episode that Machamps would possibly be more functional than they were.
Yeah.
Kyle mocked me and said, "How would you ride a Machamp?
How would you ride a Machamp?
Maybe on the shoulders.
How is that even possible?"
So here I am playing, just like really serious, like playing
Yeah.
Pokemon. Like, I gotta get through this, and like I almost shot snot out my nose. I was laughing so hard when I did just like, here, add this to your ride pager, and then I'm like, all cuddled up.
He cradles you. You get cradled by a Machamp. What a cool feeling. He just kind of stomps around cradling you, and you just lounge out. You're right. That's so funny. Me too.
If this was real life, I would definitely. That's the only way I would get around. I would just cuddle up with my Machamp.
Jones, there were times in the game where I'd have the Machamp walk me around, just because I thought it was so funny. Like walking through a town with a Machamp just carrying you through.
So I'm gonna miss those, Kyle. I'm gonna miss you. Just like
knowing more.
Machamp.
Yeah.
Jones. Silly Jones. I reached the Pony Breaker Coast. I passed the entrance of the Ruins of Hope thanks to Machamp.
Did we skip Executor Island?
No, I don't think
Oh, okay.
so.
All right. Sorry to skip ahead then.
Well, I mentioned that I caught one, so we can get to that later. Yeah, I might have skipped over that in the story. I'm not sure. And I take Hapu's trial, who is not the Kahuna, but I'll take the trial anyway.
Yeah.
She has a Doug Trio, a Mudsdale, a Flygon,
Oh, Jones, this fight.
and a Gastrodon.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
I hate that Gastrodon.
I think this might have been. Oh, this might not have been tough though, because Doug Trio, Mudsdale, my Primarina just was rip right through those. So
Sure.
I don't think this was tough.
So, Jones, this fight was huge for me.
Okay.
This was devastating. You know how I said that I had some Pokemon training on the beach? So I had a bunch of Pokemon training on the beach at this time. I had some that I thought would be able to fight her, could not. Just Earthquake would one-shot anybody, basically.
Yeah.
Earthquake's
deadly.
a nasty move. And so I fought her once, it died, she wiped me. And then I was like, okay, I have a kind of better strategy. I'll take this guy and this guy. Came up to her again, wiped me again. And so what I had to do at this point, Jones, was catch Pokemon in the wild. First time I had to do this, plan against her team. Okay, I need some type advantages. I need Pokemon who can withstand an Earthquake, so I brought you in. And I got my own Gastrodon. I'm like, you know what? You're going to use a Gastrodon against me? I'll use one against you. And so I got my own Gastrodon, and this fight really felt earned for me, but this was also the point, Jones, where I turned Experience Share on. She was over-leveled.
Oh.
Her Pokemon, I think, had a 5 to 10 levels above mine. And I was like, okay, this is the point in which I'm under-leveled. The game might be telling me it's time to turn Experience Share on. And so from that point forward, I had Experience Share on, and all my Pokemon leveled up together.
I think when I finished the game, Primarina was 72.
That's really good, Jones.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
So that would, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
I really, if you can't tell, I really, in the last week focused on I gotta finish this game.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to have that curve kind of come slanting down towards me, where it's well, now everything's kind of your level.
I'm
so
sure we'll
look
get
out.
to some tricky stuff. But yeah, that was it. My pride of not only the Experience Share that ended with that Hapu fight.
I fight Veteran Harry, who looks a lot like the Chief that I saw at the docks.
Yeah, a lot of
he has an Arcanine and a Torkoal.
Yeah, Torkoal.
I haven't seen Torkoal yet.
Yeah, he's kind of old. There's nothing exciting about Torkoal. It doesn't evolve. I don't dig him too much.
Backpacker Purdy has a Whimsicott. Mm-hmm. Haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Have you seen Cottony?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I would imagine, yeah. And my final Pokemon that I want to be in my party, the party that I liked that I beat the game with, evolves into a Pokemon I don't believe I'd ever seen before.
Ooh.
My Magnemite becomes a Magnezone. I don't think I'd ever seen a Magnezone before.
Yeah, so I loved the introduction of Magnezone because I think Magneton is a weak evolution.
Okay.
There's a lot of those, I think, in Red and Blue, just there's 3 of them now.
So Magnemite, Magneton, Magnezone.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so I think there's a lot of people who don't like Magnezone. I love it.
Yeah.
To me, it's an evolution. It actually changes form, and it turns into something pretty cool. They added that in the DS games, Diamond and Pearl. They added a bunch of evolutions to Pokemon who could use some. And I really like Tangela gets an evolution in those games.
Nice.
And that's why I really like that. I like the idea of kind of giving worth to an old Pokemon that was kind of cheap in the first place. Jones, the trick to evolving that Magneton, it only evolves in that one area. You have to be in that one area of Pony Island to evolve it.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Lucked out.
So you kind of just lucked out there. That's really cool. And so you got a Magnezone out of that.
I head up the mountain on Pony to finish what I think is going to be the last trial. I fight a trainer that has a Talonflame and a Shiinotic.
Yeah.
Not familiar with either of those.
They were both old, but yeah.
New to Jones.
New to Jones. Wait, was that a tough fight then?
No, there's just I always point out when I see something I've never seen before. Lily crosses the bridge from before and is almost murdered by birds.
Flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's worth pointing out that Lily, again, this is something, some depth that's appreciated, that Lily like transforms.
Oh, I forgot she cuts her hair and stuff like that.
She cuts her hair,
right? Yeah,
obviously there's the reveal too of Gladion and Lily and their mom.
Oh yeah, I guess we kind of breezed over that.
Duh.
It's easy to expect.
Such an idiot that I didn't see that coming. Especially because you were talking about like, oh yeah, Gladion's got this weird Pokemon. Where'd that come from? I'm like, oh yeah. And then I didn't realize like, oh wait, she's got a weird Pokemon too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They probably come from that place.
And they're all the only blonde people.
They're the only blonde people in the entire game, unless you make yourself blonde. Lily crosses the bridge from before and is, really proud of herself, and then is almost slaughtered by birds, and I have to step in. Machamp helps move some puzzle blocks around for me. Trainers on the mountain have a haunch cow.
Haunch crow.
Haunch crow.
Yeah.
Oops.
It was explained to me because I never understood it. Haunch crow is a pun on honcho.
Okay.
That is a real stretch of a pun.
Yeah.
Haunch crow.
You're the head haunch crow.
Yeah, that's a real rough one. I actually like the guy. I think it's kind of
They're
cool.
out of ideas, Kyle.
Yeah,
They're out of ideas.
Pokemon's out of ideas.
And Absol.
Yeah.
Which I love, and I think I tried to catch later and knocked it out.
I never liked that guy. I think it's the asymmetrical weird
he's
head.
got like a little horn just on one side.
Never been an
Interesting.
Absol fan.
And a Klefki, which we talked about.
Yeah.
Saw him up there. I take the trial, and I battle 3 Pokemon in a row that are evolving.
Yeah.
That I fight the 3 stages. A Jangmo-O, a Hakamo-O, and a Kamo-O.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's cool. It's fighting dragon type. This is a new one. This is brand new to the game.
Oh, neat.
I think it's pretty cool. I like that part. I was scared. Like, I was pretty scared that this was going to be a tough fight.
And I don't have anything that's just flying, I don't think, in my final group. So, ghost types and fighting types were a little tricky for me. I didn't have like a lock, like somebody I could just throw in and take care of business.
Oh, right. Do you have no psychic?
I do not have a psychic.
Oh, and I don't think you have any fairies either.
Primarina is.
Oh, okay, right.
Has fairy moves. I kept one of them around. Get to the top of this trial. We summon a legendary Pokemon, and it's Nebby. Evolves into Solgaleo.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
Crazy. And that was neat. Having seen this Pokemon a billion times pop up in the game intro every time I turn on the 3DS, and then having Nebby turn into that and being like, oh, that's so obvious. I should have seen that coming. That was going to happen.
That's obviously not obvious, no, because every other time you see it on the box, you see it every single time you start the title screen. It's like, oh, that's a legendary Pokemon. They never evolve from anything else. That's a crazy thing that the one on the box is evolved from that thing that you've been annoying you this entire game.
And when we're introduced on this bridge that we just crossed again with the Guardian, I don't remember specifically the terminology that they use for these Pokemon that look over these islands. That maybe this Pokemon that I'm seeing in the intro is the one of the last island, or maybe the one that looks over all of them.
Right.
That I would witness the creation of this Pokemon. That was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
And no time to waste. Oh, and I beat it up the first time when I went to fight it, because I didn't know what was going on. They're like, she's like, okay, this Nebby should be with you now. You should like take care of Nebby. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, so what happens if you beat it? I don't even know.
It just resets.
Oh, so it's like, fight me again.
You just literally go back and it's standing there. It's just kind of, we can fight. We can do this as many times as we need to before you catch me.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I was really happy about how I caught Solgaleo.
Okay.
I caught Solgaleo with a timer ball. Because I wanted Solgaleo. This is this is a very special Pokemon. I don't want to catch it with an Ultra, or I don't know if I'm supposed to use my Master now.
No, yeah,
I could probably save that for something, because Master would seem like something that's like a little side thing, or like you gotta get into this weird cave in the back. So I'm like, what's a ball I know is gonna work, but it's not something I used yet, and something that kind of reminds me of this Pokemon. And the timer ball colors were kind of similar. It's like white and
a little bit of red, right?
And stuff. So I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like Solgaleo.
Yeah.
So I threw out a Mudsdale, I think, something that like would not do a lot of damage to it, and something
that take the hits.
So it's like there's nothing Solgaleo could do to do damage.
Yeah.
And then I just like was watching House of Cards, and that fight went on for 20 minutes, and then it was finally like, okay, that's been a long fight. We just threw out the timer, got him. So that was fun.
cool,
so,
Jones.
so I
That's
really
really
like
cool.
that being him being its own Pokemon.
Yeah.
And didn't really use Solgaleo, which seems like an absolute travesty because
I think
it's
the
such
idea-
an important Pokemon, but I was just so dialed into my crew.
Yeah, the game's design, I think, is that, now when you are about to face the Elite Four, spoilers, now that you're about to face them, you have a very powerful Pokemon who always have your back. But yeah, me too, Jones. I really didn't want it in my party. You're attached to your Pokemon that you've raised. To
Right.
this idea of just like, here's a powerful Pokemon. It's like, I don't know. I'm good.
Oh, actually, I jumped ahead with catching Solgaleo because I have to travel into Ultra Space.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We skipped a bunch.
And I have to, and there's Guzma
Yes.
just hanging out,
He's bummed.
I guess.
He's
yeah.
not just hanging out. He's depressed.
So, what was he expecting? What was he thinking? Like, why is he? How did the situation not work
I
out?
think he loves her. I think he kind of loves her.
Okay. But he's just a scumbag, and so what's he gonna do about it? I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
he's not gonna give him time of day or really anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't think Lusamine learns her lesson. You know, I don't think like.
Oh my God.
Like
No.
especially in the end. I mean, it's like jump forward ahead, but I love that like you like bump into Nebby later, and it's like he's like, hey, how's your mom? She's like, oh, she's fine. She, talk to her about stuff that she did, and she'll come around. And I'm like, it doesn't sound
talk
like,
about that more.
Doesn't sound like you're making.
We'll talk about that more
progress
later.
with
There's
your
actually
mom.
something really cool with that ending.
But yeah, the Guzma's there just hanging out. Don't fight Guzma again.
Right.
But I go challenge Lusamine.
Yeah.
And this is ridiculous, dude.
I love this. This is so weird.
I laughed so hard when this happened.
Okay.
So she's like, okay, I've the Ultra Beasts to the future. Screw Pokemon. This is the Ultra Space. This is where it's at.
Yeah.
We have to fuse. We have to learn from these crazy things. We have to utilize this power to like, I don't know, like gain control over the Aether Foundation or the world.
She's hooked on Ultra
She's
Beasts.
just mad.
I honestly think
so, like,
she's
I don't-
happy to hang out here from now on.
Okay.
One part of her monologue that I actually really like, Jones, is where she's like, some Pokemon are obviously more important than others. And you're like, no, you can't say that. It's not true. She's like, then why do you put some in the box? You can only carry 6 at a time. Or if all Pokemon are really that important, why don't you carry them all with you all the time? I know you have Pokemon in the box right now. And you're just kind of like, you have like no answer. You're like, right, some Pokemon are more important than others. Some are more beautiful than others or whatever. Yeah, that's the
True.
one part of her monologue I like.
But I just thought it was so weird that she's like classic Dracula of at the end of any Final Fantasy game you've ever played, where it's like, this is my final form, and just like Ultra Beast comes down, she fuses with it.
She fuses with it.
Grows like 5 arms, becomes this giant amoeba crazy thing, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yes.
I'm gonna fight her.
Yes. Yeah.
This is gonna be amazing. And then she's like, here, my Pokemon. I'm like, what?
And then she has Pokeballs that have come out of these like weird, crazy hands.
But I thought I was gonna fight her.
Yeah. Yeah, Jones, I can see where that would make no sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why did you fuse to just throw Pokemon out? How did that give you a greater command?
Right, and then you just have a battle with her 6
of the
Pokemon. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well now I've defeated the 6 Pokemon. Now I fight you.
Yeah. That's it.
Have you ever done that in a Pokemon game? Have you ever fought something that they expect you full well to use more than one Pokemon to just fight this one thing? You're
Yeah.
like a raid almost, where it's like, I'm not fighting a trainer. I'm not fighting a trainer with a tough Pokemon. I'm not even fighting a tough Pokemon. I'm fighting a crazy thing.
Nah.
And the only way I can do damage to it is with my Pokemon
It's
crew.
almost always been a Pokemon. These Ultra Beasts are as close as they've gotten to like, that's not a Pokemon.
I would like to see the series go there.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting, especially now that we have like 4-way, co-op, 2v1. Like,
Yeah.
we're just shaking up that thing. I would love to take on a boss, to take on a big crazy thing, especially with again, I haven't really gotten into like post-game, post-credit content, so
Yeah.
maybe you do some of that stuff later on, but like, I chuckled long and hard when she like threw out her first Pokemon. I was
Yeah.
like, what? Why did you transform?
Yeah. No, that's fair, Jones. That's 100% fair.
Because that's what I'm saying. I hunger for that dread. I hunger for that intimidation. Oh, damn. Okay, hold on. Let me put this down and let me take a sip of water. All right, let's do this fight.
Yeah.
It went away. I was there for a moment. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Lusamine in control. Oh wait, no, she's just another trainer. Beat her. Thought I was gonna fight her directly. Then I go back out. Then I catch Solgaleo. Then I throw the timer ball.
Yeah.
And,
But Solgaleo takes you there, right?
Yep.
Opens up the portal to take you there in the first place. Yep.
And then,
By the way, what'd you name it?
Skywalker.
Oh, right.
We talked about.
So, Jones, I think that's wrong. Like, that thing is Nebby. It's still Nebby.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
So you named it Nebby?
I named it Nebby.
Okay. She didn't really seem that hung up about that.
Mine was the bat, by the way. Mine was a weird bat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she didn't really seem fired up to be like, you should name her Nebby, or,
Yeah.
you know, that was like, well, that was the other thing too, is that like, well, now I'm taking your name. You know what I mean? It's like, now I'm taking
Like
your
adopting
experience.
a dog, it makes more sense to
Yeah, it's like, I'm
change
going
the
to name
dog's
it something else.
Okay.
You know, and also, I feel like I'm getting a different Pokemon. You know, like I feel like the relationship you had with Nebby, and then, you know, whatever the heck that was the middle transformation phase, like that was your journey, and now I am getting this Pokemon that, I mean, you don't know what the hell just happened. Like, you don't have any sort of information on this third evolution, you know, any more than I do.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think
it is cool when she gives it up to you.
Yeah, I think it's a different. I want Solgaleo to feel different. Like, this is a different scenario. It's not like,
all right,
Nebby. But I see where you're coming from. Nanu shows up again, congratulates me, and takes me to Mount Lanakila, where I was directed to before. So time to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Gladion meets me at the bottom, fights me one last time, just for the heck of it.
Just to, like, yeah, I think like prove his strength or something. Like,
throws out a crazy crew of stuff that I hadn't seen him have before. Throws out a Crobat, Silvally,
so.
which is what you were talking about.
Okay, so not so many. So Crobat, Jones, is the evolution of Golbat.
Okay, so it's a third.
Yeah.
So I didn't know there was a third.
There wasn't in Red and Blue. This is another one that they added later. I think Crobat they actually added in.
And there's
Gold
not
and Silver.
in Go, I think.
Oh, yeah, because it doesn't. Go is only the Pokemon who are available in Red and Blue.
Okay.
So I actually really like Golbat. Golbat to me is another like fix. Because like Golbat sucks. Golbat, like, do you remember when you were so hopeful about what Zubat evolved into?
Yeah.
And then it just turns out to be like, whoa. And so I think Golbat like goes back the other way. It's actually like a cool strategic Pokemon and looks cool. I actually really like Golbat a lot.
He throws out a Lucario.
Sorry, Crobat.
Which I am familiar with.
You know Lucario.
Because I've played Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So that was cool seeing Lucario, a little celeb.
Yeah.
And a Weavile, or a Weevil.
Sneasel's evolution.
And I can't remember if I had seen one of them before. I catch a Sneasel after this battle. I beat up Gladion. Thanks for the lulz. Catch it in the end credits. Catch a Sneasel with the Dusk Ball, which I was happy. I didn't get a lot of chance to do that.
Dusk Ball looks cool, yeah.
I would like catch a bunch of fish Pokemon, and then like 2 hours later in the game, they'd be like, here's a bunch of things to catch fish Pokemon. I was like, if you'd been there an hour ago when I was doing that. So it was nice to actually be like, wait a minute, I think I have something that works in tunnels and caves.
Yeah.
So it's always nice having a Pokemon get caught easier than you expect. I fight Howl one last time. To pick who reaches the summit, and I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. He's like, wait.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm doing the same thing you're doing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'll race you to the top.
And we'll
see who gets the chance to go fight first.
In Red and Blue, there's a lot of situations where you're just moving along, and then you'll be stopped and forced into a fight. Mm-hmm. In this game, there's a lot of like, do you want to fight me now? And you can say no, and you can go prepare. This fight with How, it's like, we're going right now. Let's go. I actually do like this.
And I like the concept of like, this will be good for you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna help you with this fight, and I get the sense that like How knows that like I'm good stuff. I'm a quality trainer, and I think he knows like you're probably gonna get champion, and I might get it someday, but I'm not gonna be today.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna challenge you, man. I'm gonna take you on right now, and like I might win this fight. You never know. But he didn't. And he had his Raichu, a Leafeon, which I had seen before, an Incineroar, which I don't know if I'd ever seen him throw out before. I might have done like a co-op battle with him or something and seen him throw that out. But he also had a Komala, which is adorable.
Oh, yeah.
Which I had not seen before.
I never caught one of those.
Komala.
Yeah, I never caught on a Komala for myself.
If I'm in a co-op battle and my buddy throws out something, does that also pop up in my Pokedex?
No.
That's weird. Doesn't make
sense. You
sense.
didn't catch it? That's not in your Pokeball.
Well, I didn't catch it if a trainer fights it, but I still... I mean like, registers
sure.
that, like, you saw this, you don't have it.
So if you want to go get a Komala later, yeah.
Okay, cool. I meet Kukui at the top of Mount Lanakila.
Yeah.
And I prepared a battle with the Elite Four.
Yeah, so this is weird, right? Because the first time you're there, he's like, hey, man, my dream is to build an Elite Four for this island. And now it's huge and done.
Yeah.
Because that was like a strangely interesting concept to me, is this series of islands wants to be legitimate. They want to be part of the league. And we're going to watch them build it. We're going to watch them build their first Elite Four. And like, it's huge and highly technical, and there's no flaws with it, and it's perfect. It's like, you skipped a bunch of steps here, I think.
Yeah, maybe like as the tunnels or as the rooms you go into to fight them, they get progressively better and better. First one's like under construction,
Yeah.
or like or maybe the rooms kind of like cater to their specific
Where's
styles.
Kukui get these resources? How do he build this so
Right.
fast? Yeah, so it's weird.
I got a major disappointment here. Major disappointment.
What?
The Elite Four, I know already. Snooze.
So I kind of like that. You have more an attachment to him. Like, do you remember the Elite
Already
Four
fought
from
him.
Red and Blue right now?
No, but I mean, I don't remember really any NPC's name from
Yeah.
outside of Oak. You
Yeah.
know, like-
But I mean, that's kind of what happens is a lot of the times, like that guy in the kimono that people are like, why don't you remember
Right.
him from Black and White 2? It's like, because he's not prominent. And so I kind of like that the Elite Four are prominent, so you have some sort of attachment to fighting them. And I really like the fourth one, the golfer girl. She's cool.
because she's new.
She's new.
Yeah, you don't
She's
meet her
hinted
in the
at
story.
earlier.
Right.
When you go to that golf course, they're like, yeah, the owner of this hotel, his daughter's really into golf.
See, I really needed all the Elite Four to be that.
Oh, okay.
To be someone that's maybe mentioned that I meat and kind of passing grade. Oh, how you doing? And then they
Yeah.
show up later and they're like, I didn't mention it at the time, but I am a serious Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
And I also wanted the idea to be there something different between a competitive, champion Pokemon trainer and
Mm-hmm.
a Kahuna. Like Kahuna's something else. Like you can't really be a Kahuna and be in the Elite Four.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a conflict of interest, I think.
It
You know what I
totally
mean?
is.
Like, so it just seemed weird to me. Like the first time I keep forgetting his name, but like the first Kahuna, Hala. The first time I meet Hala, he's just like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, I'll teach you how to tame Tauros, and
Yeah.
you just welcome my island. Everything's fine. It's crazy." And then like meet up later, and he's like, "Elite Four, let's do this." And I'm like, "Whoa, what?
Why are you here?
Why
Yeah.
are you? Why? Yeah, wow,
Yeah, that's
like
a
you're
good
so
point.
competitive."
Yeah.
Just seemed weird to like knock him down again. And
Yeah.
just kind of. I don't know. It's just kind of underwhelmed when I went in there. Oh, it's also a bummer too to like walk into that first room and it's like, well, now I know all four of them. It's like, well, gee, I wonder who the next one's gonna be. Oh, what's up, Ace Roll? It's like,
Yeah.
that was a little bit of a disappointment to me.
Well, no one expects a golf girl.
Right, but
Right,
again,
yeah.
like that was a genuine surprise. But I would just would have loved it if, they were different people.
Sure.
It's also again the intimidation factor. It's like I walk in to see Hala and I'm like, oh, Hala. It's like, okay, let's fight. All right, I'll see you later, buddy.
Yeah.
Versus going in, whoa, who's this? Whoa, like I don't know, have no idea what Pokemon you're about to throw out at me, and make me a little more intimidated. He had a Hariyama, a Crabominable,
Love Crab
which I had
Abominable.
finally seen the evolution of Crabrawler.
So the only way to evolve Crabrawler is you have to train with him on the mountain, on the snow mountain.
Okay.
That he won't evolve anywhere else on the map.
Okay.
I kind of like that.
A Poliwrath, which is a
Hate
Poliwag
'em. Yeah.
evolved.
Hate that thing.
Primeape, which I've seen before, and a Beware, which we have discussed.
Yeah.
These 4 fights are tough.
Cool.
All of them.
Yeah.
I went back. I'm going through this footage as fast as I can. I'm renaming stuff. I'm writing notes as I'm like going through the footage, and like I tried to figure out what kind of strategy I was devising during these fights, and I think I was just grasping the whole time, just like nothing I had really.
For me too.
And like I said with fighting before, I didn't really have him flying or anything that was really like an ace. That would have taken him out.
So are you using revives at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and that was the other thing too is I did not stock up before I went in, so
Yeah.
I spent my inventory on this. I was using I guess this leaf revives people. Okay, eat that leaf. All right.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that was tough. I fight with everyone. I have a tough time with this fight, and then I move on to Olivia, which I think was the easiest out of these. Olivia has a Relicanth, a Golem, a Carbink, a Lycanroc, and a Probopass.
Yeah.
And I got Gao, my Primarina. So
yeah, and rock types it's tough.
I drop in Murphy, ground type, because I think Murphy can take some of the hits here. So I think and I think that was honestly, Kyle, one of the things that I can learn stuff about Pokemon and take that with me and appreciate Pokemon more just internally. But I think one of the major things that was very eye-opening for me playing this game and battling with you on the show was the concept of, I think I know what you're about to do. I'm going to bring in this Pokemon just to get hit.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh.
Sure.
And I tweeted about that a little bit, I think after like our second battle, where I was like, well, why would I bring somebody out if I know what attack you're good? Oh. That's that whole other thing.
Yeah.
Like that you need that. And so having these battles and realizing like, oh, you're not going to do anything to them, but they're not going to do anything to me now that you're out. So it was nice having.
I never used to do stuff like the poison spikes. But yeah, in these fights where you're fighting 6 Pokemon every time, I absolutely laid down poison spikes first 2 turns, paid off in dividends.
And interesting seeing as the battles are getting tougher and tougher in the campaign, the spikes are coming out more.
Yeah.
There's these punks and their spikes. Acerola has Sableye, which kills me every time I see it. A Delmise, a Palisand, which was cool, which looks pretty great.
I love Palisand.
A Frostlass, and a Drifblim.
So when I saw that Palisand, I hit my head and I was like, why have I not been playing with this guy this whole game? That's like the I think it's Ground Ghost. That's such a cool combo. And I just totally missed it. I saw a bunch of Staryus instead in the one spot where it is. And I thought, yeah, because this is one where, like, I went media blackout, but just happened to see the Sandcastle Pokemon, which sucked. That leaked. And I was like, this is probably where that Sandcastle Pokemon is. I'm on the beach, and I didn't see it, and it just turned out it was too rare for me to see after like 10 Staryus. Love that guy, Palisand.
With Acerola, this is another one I fight with the whole team. I'm not sure what anybody's really weak to in this group. Lot of
with Ghost?
lot of step up evolutions that I didn't get a chance to fight in the campaign and didn't evolve personally, and so like a lot, the menu's like I think throughout this whole fight,
which is exciting.
Like trying a bunch of different stuff. And one of the other things too that's a little frustrating is that like I get in and I'm like, oh, you're weak to me, let's do it, and like wham, and I hit it, and the health goes all the way down to the bottom, and they throw a full restore on. I'm like, oh come on.
Everybody in Elite Four uses.
So I'm like, okay, so I hit it again, and it's like full restore, like So I was like, okay, so I'd give it like a little weak attack, and then hit it really hard. Like, okay, knock you out.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
That is So
that strategy was fun to just pick up.
Yeah. That doesn't work against you and me, but fighting the Elite Four, you do have to anticipate heals.
What works against you, Kyle?
Well, I don't have potions, is what I mean. Like, you don't have to worry about me doing full restores.
True. And then finally, Kahili. I fight again with most of my party. This one is tricky. Kahili's got a Skarmory, a Mandibuzz, a Oricorio, a Crobat, and a Toucanon. Yeah. Which I had fought with you.
Yeah, I love that Toucanon.
But the actual word Toucanon, I think, was not.
Because mine's just called True Beak, right?
But a Toucanon, I enjoy that. Kind of frustrating when the elite keep using full restores. I make it to the very top, and I fight the man himself, Kukui. I was hoping he would be in his wrestling outfit.
I was hoping he would not be a part of the Elite Four that he just built.
Well, it's also a bummer too because he shows you the mountain. He's like, hey, you see that mountain over there?
Yeah.
Some crazy stuff going on over there. It's like, you know exactly what's going on over there. Yeah. Why don't you just tell me?
I'm gonna make myself champion.
Yeah, like why don't you just say like, I'm the current champion. You're gonna have to fight me someday. And they're like, so I can like build up to that. Having him like surprise me at the end is not like, I was hoping it'd be you. It's like, oh, it's not someone else. I'm not gonna meet someone new or find out that person who I didn't think. Because that was the thing about like Nanu or Nanu that like because he kept showing up and was kind of unassuming, was just like, I'm just a guy, don't worry about me. And then like, it's like, I wonder if he's like the champion, I wonder if he's like me older, like someone who's lived here all his life and is so calm and chill that he's just like, he's just kind of, this is the Alolan way, this guy's personality.
It was not a surprise.
Nope. Creepy that he pointed out this mountain to me in the first place. He has a small lichen rock. He has a little doggy lichen rock. Not the bigger guy with the hunched over and the big, like, he has like a dog.
Yes.
And it's also called Lycanroc.
Yeah. So
Same name.
Yeah. So if I evolve, what was it, Rockruff? If I evolve Rockruff in Moon, it becomes the werewolf.
Okay.
If you evolve one in Sun during the day, it becomes like a regular wolf.
Okay.
That's the difference. I think that's so cool. That's
but I
really
did grab a Lycanroc. Like they are in my world.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
That's weird because that doesn't seem like a, fork in the road, go left or go right kind of decision. That's like, no, the Lycanroc you battled me with is a step up above the small dog.
You think
version.
so?
Well, it's up, right? It's like more
it is
humanoid.
cooler. Let's be honest, it's cooler. Yeah.
I got a Braviary, or I'm sorry, Kukui throws out a Braviary.
Yeah.
A Decidui.
Yep.
Which is the owl. Which is,
the Rowlet we never had.
The Rowlet, neither of us got. And a Snorlax, which I respect.
I think Decidui looks really cool. I think that's a really cool design.
And I did not write down that I had a problem with Kukui.
Yeah.
I beat him up. They throw me a party.
He's a pretty brutal dude.
Lily takes me back to the Plank Bridge on Mahalo Trail. I touch the statue in the Rune of Conflict and battle Tapu Koko.
Well, we skipped through a lot there.
And
I mean,
get
we
it-
had the whole celebration.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like, hey, you're the new champion.
it's a
We're
cutscene.
celebrating
It's
you.
like it's not a lot of surprise there. Like
It's so silly to me I mean, you did just move here, even though Jones, it took us 2 months to get here to this point. It still feels like, man, I don't feel like I did that much.
Right.
I just moved here. Like, we are the champion. And like, the champion, you just started this thing today.
well, one of the other thing too is they're like, it's all your old friends. I was like, who? Yeah, I talked to that guy like once.
Yeah.
and it's like, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
Woo, it's
But
party.
yeah. Absolutely. That celebration
And they like
feels
double
barely
down on
earned.
it too. Like Lily's like, let's go up to Mahalo Trail and fight Tapu Koko. Mm-hmm. For shits.
Yeah.
Like what? And I get like Tapunium Z, which like, I'm sure is cool, but like I didn't really put that in practice. And then
It is cool.
And then I go back to the party. You know, it's like, oh, don't mind us. We were just.
Did you catch Tapu Koko or did you beat him up?
I beat him up and didn't realize I maybe could.
Sure.
Is that a Master Ball situation?
No, because there's 4 of them.
Okay.
I never used my Master Ball. I kept
Oh,
it.
so you can go to. I can now go to the other islands and grab them. Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yep.
What type? So Tapu Koko is electric, right?
Yeah, electric and something else. What's funny about him is, you know how like he looks like he can like close his arms and look like a head?
Yes.
So with Tapunium Z, its Z move is it turns into a head and then it gets this giant glowing body and it just smashes the ground and just like it is the head of the body. It's a cool animation.
I go back to the party. I continue celebrating. Then I go to bed. I wake up the next morning. Hao is freaking out
Yeah.
because Lily is moving.
Yeah.
We go to the docks, and Lily not only specifically says, I'm moving, she says, I am moving to Kanto. Because I hear Kanto's all the rage. Maybe that's stars. Maybe it's going to be Lily and Kanto.
There was part of me, Jones, that prayed that like, are we going to Kanto right now? Yeah. Oh my God, take me with you. And like, she doesn't. I was like, oh, okay. I almost thought like, oh, this is going to happen. And like, no.
It'd be fun if you get like, do you get like fan mail from her? So not fan mail, but if you get like if she's become like a pen pal or something. That'd be fun later.
You can read her diary.
Ah, nice.
Because
is it like in her house or something?
it's in Kakui's house. It's up in that
okay.
loft.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to share something with you about
How
that
did
diary.
he get her diary?
She stayed there. She was staying in his loft.
Oh, okay.
And the Murkrow pecked open the lock. They're like, oh, you can open this now. Because at the beginning of the game, you can't read her diary.
Okay.
So actually, let me just share this with you now. So
right.
yeah, she's going to Kanto. She doesn't really explain why. But the reason why she's going to Kanto is because her mom's like brain dead right now. She's like comatose. Because
Which is a good thing.
From fusing with that Pokemon.
Right.
From fusing with that Ultra Beast. So the reason she wants to go to Kanto is to talk to a man named Bill. Because Bill once fused with a Pokemon. And he
oh my
might,
goodness.
How cool is that?
Wow, yeah.
And he might know something about this. I was like, wow, oh, you are geniuses. That was like the one thing to me that was like, yeah, that makes sense. That'd be the guy you talk to. He once fused with a Pokemon, absolutely.
That's funny.
So they're hoping that they might help her like extract whatever Ultra Beast is left in her mom, going to talk to Bill.
I feel kind of guilty like playing whatever Pokemon game comes out in 2 or 3 years because it's just been such a great cycle, like playing Red and then playing Sun.
Yeah.
And having all of these.
Yeah,
things
what a weird connection.
come
I love
to
that.
fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two of us with Kukui say goodbye to Lily at the dock.
Yeah.
And then I get up the next day and head on out, and Hao's pumped up. I really like that Hao sees our Meowth. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're a Kanto Meowth, aren't you? And he's like,
Yeah.
look at that little coin you got on your forehead.
Yeah.
And so it's neat, seeing how that, how they appreciate,
The differences.
It would have been interesting, you have a character like the oak that we have. I can't remember his first name, but
Samuel.
Sammy Oak.
Or Samson. This one's Samson.
Okay.
The real oak is Samuel.
And he kind of will inform us like, oh, this is how they were different. But it's nice to see preference. You know, it's nice to see, well, I kind of prefer like this one.
Yeah.
And we were talking, I skipped over it for some reason, but Executor Island, that we actually
yeah.
go to a place where they're
Obviously
where they are from.
superior.
Right.
Look at that thing. It's a palm tree. It's really cool.
And I walked out of my house and a guy gave me an enigmatic card that I'm sure is used for something extremely important.
Do you want to know?
Yeah, why not?
So this is where the Ultra Beast's quest began.
Okay.
So you take the enigmatic card, you meet Looker. Looker is for some reason one of the few characters who's really in most games. He's like a running character throughout. He's this cool detective. And that is where you begin missions to go catch Ultra Beasts. And so the Ultra Beasts that you saw pop out of that portal in that one cutscene are loose in the world, and you can actually go and catch them. And they're kind of hard to go catch. And
Oh,
stuff like
crazy.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. And they have really weird designs.
But I can't help but think that if there is to be a game on the Nintendo Switch,
Yeah.
that is this game but better, I would like to play that. And I don't know how much I'm going to want to play that if I really like, overdose on this game now, especially considering how much of my life that this has taken up over the last couple months.
I mean, you don't learn a lot about. You learn like forced backstory of these characters, like they're introduced new characters and tell you backstory about them. And you don't learn too much about the nature of Ultra Beasts. You can catch them, and they are Pokemon you can use in your party.
So now I can bring in my older Pokemon. How do I do that?
Oh, with Pokemon Bank?
Is that how we do that with the bank?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta look into
now that
it.
I've finished the game. Because we have to finish the game first, and then you can bring the Pokemon.
That's just something that hasn't been done yet, and I guess it is done now, and I have to look into it. People just said in chat today that like, hey, it's up. Go to the Pokemon Bank. So
cool.
I guess we gotta check that out.
So I can potentially still go into Red, catch Mewtwo, and then boot up the bank, and then drop Mewtwo in there, and then put it in. So, great.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not too late.
There's one other thing I want to talk about post-game that I actually really love big time.
Okay.
So there's a guy in the grocery store who says, yeah, talk to me later when you're a champion. And you're like, okay. And there's a couple of guys like that. But they don't lead to too much. This guy starts the Eevee quest. And he says there are, I think, 7 different forms of Eevee. He's like, there's 7 different Eevee trainers out in the world. Go find them. I'll give you hints about where they are. And I'm like, this is a legitimate, cool side quest. And so you go out across the world and you go and find these Eevee trainers. And they all say depressing things. They're all at the end of their quest. They're all old people, basically. And they're just like, yeah, I don't really like to fight anymore. But yeah, if that guy sent you, I'll fight you. And it's really weird, the tone of their messages. They're like, yeah, my fighting days are behind me. I live in the sunset right now, and then just have to cope with that. They say really strange things about getting old.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you fight all 7 of them, and you come back to this guy, and then he wants to fight you with his singular Eevee. And it's the saddest thing. He gives you like Eevee Z-Stone or whatever, and then he says, okay, I'm done fighting. I get that now. I get the message at everybody. I'm too old. I'm too old to fight. It's time for the new generation, which is kind of what the entire story of all the other Eevee trainers is. And he says that. And then you go up to him again. He's just a cashier. And he says, hi, welcome to the store. And you're like, you're the Eevee guy. And so you like talk to him again. He's like, hi, welcome to our grocery store. It's the saddest thing, Jones. It's insane. This completely optional weird side quest.
It sounds like a lot of this post-game stuff will really flesh out the world for me, and it sounds like it's this. And I'm not like
answer your questions.
And I'm not saying it shouldn't be in the end game. Like I love that. I talked about Final Fantasy VI, and that's something you can't do in 6. Like you can't go back to the world after you've gotten credits. So I love that in a role-playing game. So tempted. But I just really want, especially if, there's fun like multiplayer functionality and stuff like that. If this game comes to Switch, I really just want to double down.
Yeah.
Double down on that. And obviously there's more we could do. We could, finish out the Pokedex. We could, battle every week. I could get in there and do all the side story stuff. But I do want to review this. I want to write that script. I want to get that video out. And I want to embrace all that is 2017 and all the other fun, exciting games that are not only coming out this year, but coming out in this month and the next month and the month after that. But I am so happy, Kyle, that we have the audience that we do that has been hanging out with us through this incredible Pokemon experience that began. When did Brennan?
I think in November,
Pokemon
man.
start last year?
I think it started in November.
No, that's when we started Brandon Sun Calhoun. But when did Brandon Plays Pokemon start?
I don't know.
I don't know when we're gonna. I don't know when we're gonna
summer.
sit down and talk about Pokemon again.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's not that we don't want to do this. It's not that I would be happy this just being my job. Just playing Pokemon
once
games
a week
and
we just
sitting
talk
down and
about
talking about them.
Yeah,
I don't play anything else.
Yeah.
I just play Pokemon games. I'm done with shooters. I'm done with action games. It is just Pokemon from here on out. But the tough thing about our gigs is figuring out what to focus on and how much effort to put into them at any given time. And I think for the moment, it is time for, I will definitely leave Pokemon Sun in my 3DS. This will be my Pokemon machine.
Yeah.
And I will, if there's any more stuff that happens, any more advancements, I will mention them idly on streams and other shows, on a frame trap or whatnot.
But for now, this is it. We're closing.
But for now,
this
is it. You want to trade? You want to get that past Simeon?
Yeah. Or do you have enough card space left? That's the one thing I'm concerned about.
I don't believe that the camera's not beeping at me, and we're still recording.
Okay, great.
So let's do it.
Yeah, one last trade. And sorry, we can't hook up the thing. We
it's
cannot.
gonna happen.
We
It's
can't
gonna be good.
B-roll of this for everybody at home.
Here, I'll have some sound for you.
Okay, the sound will work. So Jones, I have a Pokemon for you that you cannot get in your game.
Okay.
Are you doing Quick Link right now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me too. This Pokemon is an Ultra Beast.
Oh my.
Yeah. So they're
You can just trade that to
they're
me?
exclusive Ultra Beasts. Yeah. Per game. There are 2 Ultra Beasts in your game that I can't have. You know, I'm not too crazy about him, so it's not like a big deal. Oh, look at that guy. And you named him Diddy? Ah, that's so cool. Okay. Yeah, let me get you that Ultra Beast.
Oh my, look at these. Oh boy, is that it?
That's it.
Oh, look at
How
that.
freaky is that thing? So its name is Beauty 4, because at one point they're like, catch 4 of them. I'm like, ah, really? Yeah, so I just named it Beauty 4. Trade. So for people at home who can't appreciate, should we just cut this out, or is this part of the video?
This is part of the video, baby.
Okay, so I'm trading Jones, if you haven't seen it, the Ultra Beast that was codenamed Beauty. That's why I named it Beauty. If you never want it, if you're media black on that, that's cool. So, and Jones, you traded me the Passimian.
Yeah.
That's a cool, and I like Diddy. I actually really like his
And that
name.
ball you caught that with. Whoa, look at that. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
It's an Ultra Beast ball.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I got work to do. I will take good care of Beauty 4. Oh my.
What I really like about that thing is I taught it False Swipe, which is the move that reduces a Pokemon down to 1 HP. So it's cool to have a very powerful Pokemon who knows False Swipe that you can reliably catch other Pokemon with. Passimian. That thing's cool. That's a really cool Pokemon design. Yeah, I mean, Jones, we finished the game, man.
We did.
I don't want to like ruin your review, but like, oh my god, look at it! Look at this animation. He tosses it. He tosses
Yeah.
that coconut, poof, and he catches it. Oh, it's so cool.
He does something cool when he gets knocked out too. He does some neat thing where he's like about to drop the ball or something before he gets like pulled back into a Pokeball.
That is a cool Pokemon.
He's an
fighting type.
athlete.
Dang, I kind of want him on my team. We'll talk about that later.
So yeah, less than a year later, here I am in this brand new Pokemon world.
Yeah.
And obviously, I appreciate you, Kyle, taking the guff from the community over what you should and maybe should not have said.
Yeah.
Good advice, bad advice.
Lots of bad advice.
You need this stone to evolve this Pokemon, or
Yeah.
this
Firestone
is
to
in
evolve
one game
Growlithe. I'll
versus
never
another.
forget now.
Yeah. Our audience will never let you forget that. But this has been so much fun. And this is really a treat. I think as gamers, there are always those franchises that are out of our reach. There's always those things where we're like, I really want to get into it, but I just don't know when the right time. And I can't think of a better opportunity or a better gift that any gamer could ask for than to have a friend that is willing to go through an old franchise.
Wow, yeah.
And having an amazing community to support and watch and hang out the whole time. We would love to do episodes of this until the cows come home, but we're getting into a heavy review season. We have a lot of other fun things coming up this year for Easy Allies, and like we said, there may be other games and other streaming shooting opportunities in the future to get back on the couch and talk about Pokemon.
Always
Thank
let
you
us
so much,
know.
Kyle.
Let us know what you would like to see. We always appreciate that.
Yes, please. You can reach out to us. Here are our lowers. You can reach me at Trailer Jones. You can reach Kyle at Kyle Bossman. And he's back on Twitter.
Back on Twitter, baby. Finish the game.
Is there another game? Is there any cause in 2017 for you to leave Twitter again?
No, because I don't think Zelda will get spoiled too bad.
Sure.
I don't think Mario Galaxy or Mario Odyssey will get spoiled too bad. I think we're okay. I don't see myself going dark.
All right.
Yeah.
So let us have it. Let us know the good, the bad. What do you think of Pokemon? What do you think of these shows that we produce? Keep the conversation going, and we will see you on the next stream or the next show. Thank you for watching. Take care.